Close your eyes for just a second. Imagine a perfectly quiet, completely still environment. Notice how that mental image brings this immediate, undeniable sense of relief? In this explainer, we're diving into exactly why that happens. You see, as humans, we are hardwired to equate a lack of noise with a lack of danger. When the surface is smooth, our brains tell us, okay, we can finally relax. But today, we're going to explore why that very instinct, that comforting feeling, might actually be our absolute most dangerous mental shortcut.
Seriously, think about it. Does a calm surface always mean you are safe? It's this universal human assumption, right? That peace on the surface automatically equals true safety beneath. We look at a calm lake, a quiet office, or even a seemingly silent friend, and we just assume everything's fine. Well, we are going to challenge that assumption head-on today. We'll be looking at ancient wisdom, psychology, and even animal behavior to show you exactly why absolute stillness should sometimes be a blaring alarm.
Let's jump right into Act 1, Wisdom from the River. This whole journey we're going on is anchored by a philosophy from a man named Papa Q. Bear, the father of our source materials author. Papa Q. Bear used to teach a pretty vital lesson when he took his kids fishing. He said, when the wind is howling and the seas are rough, well, any boatsman naturally knows to be cautious. The danger is totally obvious. It's loud. It's right in your face. But when the waters are perfectly calm, kissed by just a gentle zephyr, that is when you must be extra careful. Howling seas loudly warn you away, but quiet waters deceptively invite you in.
And that dynamic beautifully illustrates a very famous piece of Southeast Asian wisdom. Air yang tenang, jangan disangka tiada buaya. Now, that translates to, do not assume there are no crocodiles in calm water. It's an incredible saying, and it isn't just nice poetry either. It was born out of the literal, daily, lived experience of coastal villages. For generations of people navigating those waters by boat, the threat wasn't a metaphor. It was a literal apex predator hiding right behind a perfectly peaceful facade.
The biological reality behind this proverb is, honestly, terrifyingly brilliant. The buaya tembaga, the saltwater crocodile, actually uses absolute calms as its primary hunting tactic. Just picture a smooth tropical river baking under the sun. The surface is literally shining like glass, yet completely silent and totally motionless just a few inches below an apex predator is waiting. It's a stark reminder forged by ancestral survival. A peaceful scene is very often a predator's absolute best camouflage. We actually see these themes heavily documented in Sir Richard Winstead's historical records of ancestral Malay wisdom. These ancient animal metaphors are brilliant, universal warnings about overlapping, hidden dangers. There's even another proverb in there that warns about running away from a tiger only to fall right in with a crocodile. Basically, out of the frying pan and into the fire. They teach us that life is layered. Just because you can't hear a problem doesn't mean the problem doesn't exist.
Which brings us to Act 2, the psychology of complacency.
It is so fascinating to look at how different cultures view the concept of calmness. In English, we use the phrase, still waters run deep, right? We usually use that to praise someone's hidden, thoughtful intellect. But juxtapose that with the Malay proverb we just talked about, which serves as a strict, urgent warning of hidden bad intentions and sudden harm. It really echoes the Icarus paradox, this idea that the very things that make us feel successful and safe, like smooth sailing on quiet waters, are very often exactly what cause our downfall through unchecked complacency.
Actually, fun fact, if we want the true Malay equivalent for praising hidden intellect, we have to look completely away from the dangerous river and look toward a potato. Well, a yam, to be specific. The saying goes, diam ubi tapi berisi. Basically, a yam doesn't make any sound, but it yields lots of flesh. I just love that earthy image. A person who keeps a low profile but actually has a massive amount to contribute is like a quiet yam, reserving the crocodile-infested water for actual unseen threats. But we really need these crocodile warnings because of our own psychological flaws. You see, humans fundamentally crave predictable, stress-free environments. We suffer from this deep cognitive bias that automatically equates silence with security. There's this brilliant old fable by La Fontaine that hits the nail on the head. A man escaping a robber easily crosses a loud, turbulent, crashing stream. But right after that, he tries to cross a smooth-flowing, quiet river and he drowns. The noise warned him to be careful, but the smooth flow completely betrayed his instincts. Moving on to Act 3, Modern-Day Crocodiles. Now, most of us aren't exactly navigating literal jungle rivers on our daily commute, but we are absolutely swimming with metaphorical crocodiles.
Think about the workplace. A perfectly quiet office can actually hide immense structural decay. Or think about relationships, where a friendly, calm face might be masking deep, unresolved resentment. It's a lot like the prodigal son parable, right? He grew perfectly comfortable in his wealth, completely blind to the hidden dangers of his own complacency until the famine suddenly hit. Whether it's our careers, our relationships, or a deceptively curated social media feed, a polished surface almost always hides a much more complex reality beneath.
And this applies to our everyday interactions too. Papa, the author of our source material, actually shares a pretty hilarious anecdote about this. He assumed a quiet friend of his, who by the way later became a finance minister, knew absolutely nothing about playing snooker. Because she was so quiet, he generously offered to teach her. But as he puts it, I made the mistake of assuming, and I got snookered instead. Turns out, her father used to literally operate a snooker center. He completely misread the entire situation just because of her quiet, calm exterior.
Let's wrap things up with our synthesis, the vigilant traveler.
So how do we actually navigate these waters? First off, do not rely solely on first impressions. Remember, they're just that glassy surface. Second, we have to practice emotional intelligence to read the hidden layers in our colleagues, our loved ones, and honestly, even ourselves. Third, maintain a healthy dose of caution without giving in to outright fear-mongering. I mean, you still have to cross the river of life. We just have to remember that silence absolutely does not always mean safety.
I'll leave you with a final thought inspired by Papa Q Bear. Take a moment today to really look at the calmest areas of your life, the quietest relationships, the smoothest projects at work, the places where you feel the most comfortably complacent. What hidden crocodiles might be lurking beneath those still waters right now? Don't let the silence fool you. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.